weather.
It's been a nice 6-month winter.
Just the weird weather things.
Yeah, yesterday it was winter and spring summer in the same day.
Dude, was there snow on the ground at your houses?
Yeah.
So
Woke
weird.
up and it was freezing cold outside, and then a few hours later it was like 50 something, 60 something.
It wasn't that. I think the high was 44 yesterday, bro.
That's what I said.
Oh.
It's not.
Kelsey took my car and she had to scrape it.
You didn't
Really?
scrape it before?
No, dude.
Nothing like having to scrape your car April 7th.
I was in bed.
Nice. Sounds about right. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Today's episode of Thunderheads is brought to you by Wellness Perspective. Wellness Perspective makes it easier for you to live healthfully. They're also making it easier for us to do this podcast. Check them out at mywellnessperspective.com to learn more.
You're listening to Thunderheads, a podcast for Thunder fans by Thunder fans.
Welcome to Thunderheads. Thanks for joining us to wrap up the week. If you're tuning in on YouTube Live, we're psyched to have you. I'm Brandon Soul, joined by the Thunder Tie himself. It is Mr. Justin Wright.
Crystal Poppin and the Stretch Navigator.
That's got to be some
It's got to be
sort
like
of...
P. Diddy.
We got food everywhere as if the party was catered.
You said it was going to be a layup for me.
Yeah, it is. We got fellas to my left, honeys on my right. We bring them both together. We got drinking all night.
Dude, I don't know.
I got nothing.
Oh, it's R. Kelly again.
Oh. Well, I don't know his whole collection.
It's Ignition, the remix.
You got to do the
greatest-
chorus.
If you would have do the pee-pee part, I would have got it.
I'm not going to do the chorus. That's too much of a
The
layup.
PP part.
Yeah.
This man's the dark and stormy Jason Lewis.
Yes, sir.
I do like your master's jacket, though.
Yeah.
You may
Impressive.
be the first man to ever utter R. Kelly lyrics while wearing a master's green jacket.
Easily.
So that's pretty cool. We should have had a Guinness World Record person here that could have made it. Today we're gonna break down the Thunder's monster win over the Rockets.
Yeah.
We'll give BD a little bit, Billy D, that is, not Brian Davis.
Okay.
Billy Donovan a little bit of credit, and we are going to dissect Paul George's free agency comments. But first, your disaster of the week.
Ooh.
This one's kind of funny, guys.
So it's not somebody getting mutilated in their genitals.
Sorry, I'm like fighting the sickness, so I'm
Yeah,
a little slow, like breathing a little heavy and stuff. All right, here we go. My reading might be off. An Ohio woman was assaulted by her boyfriend with a pizza earlier this week.
What?
She told police. Kenneth Evans, 24 years old, was arrested and faces charges of assault and criminal damaging or endangering, according to jail records. He was released from jail on Thursday. The victim, who was not named, says she was hit in the face with a pizza and suffered minor injuries. Pepperoni to the nostril?
Was it like a frisbee to the face of the pizza, or was it
I
kind of a pie to the face?
think we're going to get there. TV station WFMJ said the assault consisted of Evans pushing a pizza into his girlfriend's face. The station identified the woman as Evans' girlfriend. Where must have things...
That relationship is not on good terms.
Are the minor injuries burns, I'm
They gotta
assuming?
be. Like it's hot out of the oven pizza, and then you just shove it in the face. Not good.
If you're the type of person to smash a pizza into your girlfriend's face, you're definitely not the type of person to make a pizza on your own at home.
You're also not the type of person that should have a girlfriend.
That too. I mean, like at least, like if you did it to a dog, like yeah, it'd be a little cruel, but the dog would be like, you know what, it's pretty good though. Like,
No, he would enjoy it.
Yeah, he'd
you're
be
right.
like, I'm just gonna eat it. It's fine. The incident took place Tuesday night in Missouri, Ohio, southeast of Cleveland.
It's all starting to make sense.
If you were to guess where this took place, you would have said Ohio.
Yeah.
Maybe Florida.
Yeah, maybe
Ooh,
Florida.
that would have made a lot of sense.
Either Florida or Ohio. Police told media outlets they received a call to a home about a domestic dispute in progress and arrived to find tires in the road and the sounds of someone screaming nearby. Officers followed the noise and encountered a man who was highly intoxicated and slammed the door in their face. Evans was screaming and belligerent, and his mood swung from crying to laughing hysterically.
So he was on some drugs.
This guy and pizza. He was pumped about the pizza. Sure, the emotions were just...
He's probably bummed when he realized he ruined the pizza on her face. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, shit, I was gonna
He's
eat
excited
that.
on the pizza, and he's bummed about not having the pizza anymore. Where are we at here? The victim told police that Evans attacked her while they were riding home in the car. and the assault included screaming at her, pushing her multiple times, and hitting her with the pizza.
What a weird
How do
thing
you
to
hit
somebody
I'm
with.
so like I'm trying
It's
to.
soft.
Yeah.
It's not.
You roll it up and like use it as a baton.
Yes, like a newspaper. Like if you, the victim told. Wait, that's where I read that. She told police Evans continued acting erratically when they got home, kicking the car, tossing furniture around, and trying to fight one of the neighbors. This guy.
So
has
what
issues.
did she say to him?
That's a good. I'm not sure that's where we should focus, but it is a fair question.
She got vegetables on the pizza. He asked her, "Hey, bitch, I thought I said no vegetables on my pizza."
Oh, like
So
pepperoni.
pissed about the pizza choice. He also threw tires in the roadway and smashed a mailbox.
Jesus.
Where did he find tires to throw in the roadway? Is what I want to know.
Great question. Police took photos of what remained of the pizza. Imagine that's your job. You're like, what is happening right now?
What went wrong in my career?
Your Honor, I present to you Exhibit A. It's just a like
It's a
crushed up
mashed
pizza in a
pizza.
big bag.
You can see the nose imprint right in the middle.
Clearly, there was a face here.
Evans was taken to the Trumbull County Jail, where he was told to stop boxing the wall multiple times. Wow.
Keep
So he was
boxing.
hitting the wall.
Keep going. Go
He
ahead and
denied
box him.
touching the victim, which who's going to believe him at this point? Here's his mugshot. I figured I could pull this up for everybody.
No.
That is his mugshot right there. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did it.
Yeah, he's a real winner, huh?
Also looks very excited about having smashed a pizza in someone's face.
All
Who
right.
uses that face in a mugshot? Just,
I
hey!
can't believe they allow it. I mean,
Yeah, be like, quit.
stop it, dude.
Tase him until he stops. Nope.
Hit him with a pizza? Some of your own medicine.
That should be his punishment.
No Rob today, so no rundown.
Boo.
Only two games this week, and me and Rob did talk pretty extensively on the Warriors game after that game on the aftershock. So we will mostly focus on kind of the bigger
positive side?
the bigger scheme of everything. You know, the grand scheme of things, and that Houston game in particular. But as you guys know, the Thunder lost to the Warriors early in the week, 111-107. The game that they really just didn't play very well.
Except for
And-
Russell. Russell played very well.
Yeah, exactly right.
Everyone else, not very well.
Yeah. And then I think at this point, the majority of Thunder fans were starting to lose a little faith in this team. You know, it felt like, could they get it done? You go into the game yesterday against the Rockets, the best team in the entire league on the entire season. You're playing a road game. They've won 20 straight at home. The Nuggets win earlier in the day, which means if you lose, you drop to 9th.
Right. Which is terrifying.
And the Thunder come up big, and they pull out a huge win, man. 108-102 in Houston, big fourth quarter. Hold the Rockets to 40 points in the second half. Just kind of one of those games they did what they had to do. You know, they fell behind 83-77 at one point, and I felt like they were about to get away from them, and they stuck to it, and they locked up defensively, and they won the game.
I think, didn't you tweet out right about then, like, oh, here comes the blowout? Like, there were two
I think I
big
told you
threes,
guys, yeah.
Right.
two big threes, and then it was it always
did.
felt that way. It felt like that barrage was going to come, and the Thunder somehow kind of weathered that storm and stayed with it, and then that big 9-0 run, and I kind of never looked back at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and last night, I felt like they came out with a different energy than they have in the past several games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, they just looked kind of in control. I mean, it was nice finally to see Melo and George at the start of the game. Their shots were falling, especially Melo. He was hot.
Yep.
To start the game. That was nice to see.
Do you like that as a formula coming out, getting Melo looks early on? Because you're starting to see as games go on, Melo's not getting looks as the game goes on. Much
Right.
like Steven Adams, much like Serge Ibaka used to do.
Yeah.
So maybe similar to how you use Serge Ibaka, and I think we've talked about this before, you get Melo a couple shots right out the gates and
Yeah,
maybe
I'm-
get him in the groove of things.
Yeah,
a
I'm
little
totally into that. And
bit. As opposed
to
to PG, which they've usually been going at.
yeah, I mean, PG looked more comfortable last night. I mean, you know, he's talked about his mechanics are kind of broken with his shot, but I mean, he looked all right.
3
I mean,
for 7 from 3, but 6 for 17 overall.
yeah, and I mean, I don't know. They just seem more confident. He was definitely better on the defensive end than he has been lately. I mean,
Agreed.
He seemed really locked in, and
Especially that second half.
yeah, and I mean, this was a game where I mean, we played a good first and fourth quarter, and we didn't play a good middle quarter, or the two middle quarters.
Right.
But that seems to kind of be a trend where it works out. Like when they do that, it's all right, but when they do like alternating quarters and don't play a fourth quarter well,
Yeah.
not good.
You're right, because you need the starters to play good on this team, and you're playing your starters a lot of minutes. Melo 35, George 41 minutes. You know one thing about George, got to the line 10 times, made 9 of them. That's huge for him.
Yeah.
If he's not going to shoot the ball well, if he can get to the line, it's big.
Half of those were in the fourth quarter as well. So
Good stat.
And this is kind of something that I'm looking at right now because, it felt like they played well. And defensively, they played really well. And to outscore Houston 28-19 in the fourth quarter, Houston only shoots 8 of 21 from the field, 3 of 11 from 3. That's where you really solidify that you're going to win that game. Because usually late in the fourth quarter, late in the game, all of a sudden the Rockets just start pouring it in from 3. Thunder got a little bit lucky on some open looks, but for the most part, they contain the dribble drive, which Houston loves to do. Dribble drive, kick out, kill you in the corner.
They never let Harden gain a rhythm, which is huge. Harden's always going to hit you with a couple ridiculous step-back threes in your face.
He hit that one on Paul George.
He's going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he does.
And it's almost like the thing with Golden State in years past, and I mean, still, like what you were talking about earlier. Like, their barrage is going to happen. Like, they're going to hit threes, and you just have to be like, don't panic.
Yep.
Just stay the course. Keep doing what you were planning on doing. And one thing that I thought that really stuck out to me was the defense by Abrines and Patrick Patterson last night, especially on Chris Paul. Like, they both did a really good job. I didn't expect it. Like, whenever they got switched on him, I was like, oh, God.
Big game for the bench. Plus 14 for Patterson, plus 7 for Grant, plus 13 for Felton, who wasn't good.
Yeah.
But that just means the team was holding their own while the bench was on the court. Abrines plays 27 minutes, which we're definitely going to get into.
Yeah.
He's a plus 6 for the game. But that's huge. I mean, the Rockets...
And it's in a game where he didn't hit any threes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he was
0 for 7 from 3. 1 for 8 from the field. Eric Gordon didn't play, so that's obviously key.
Yeah, that helped.
But, I mean, that's big. The key to holding back this Houston team might just be if you can contain Chris Paul. Because Harden is probably going to get his. He's going to get to the line a million times.
Yeah.
If you can
by
just
hooking people's arms all day. God, that's so annoying.
Right, but like you said, Patterson did a good job on Chris Paul. Abrines, when he got stuck, he did an okay job. I mean, the thing with Chris Paul, if you can force him off that 3-point line and make him drive and go to the rim, try to score at the rim.
Right.
That's what you have to do with Chris Paul.
Well, you get him really uncomfortable, and he kind of does that weird. It's kind of a lazy dribble where he's trying to figure out what he wants to do when he gets inside the 3-point arc. Because he wants to hit that floater, but usually, like if you got a big guy on him, he's not going to put that floater up. So he kind of dribbles around. If you can get him really uncomfortable, if you run him off the 3-point line, you've already cooked off about 3 to 4 seconds of the shot clock just by throwing his rhythm out.
That's a good point because Houston obviously doesn't like those mid-range shots. They do everything they can to avoid those mid-range shots.
Yeah.
And so if you can get them caught in that in-between and you have a rim protector like Steven Adams down low, like Jerami Grant down low, and you make it tough on Chris Paul, you're not just going to get open threes. Now, if you want to take that mid-range shot all night, go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead. But, we're going to force you out of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it seemed like they were able to do that last night. I mean, speaking of defense, like Russell's defense last night, I was amazed by. I can't remember a game in recent memory that he was that good.
Ever for that stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that 5-minute stretch. So it started. This is so fun, man. It was a blast to watch. It was a blast thinking about it after the fact. I think you can almost credit the win to what he did on James Harden in that fourth quarter.
It was impressive.
So it all started when Russ was playing with the bench, just him with the bench. So it was like, well, who's going to guard Harden? Harden's on the court. Someone's got to guard Harden.
Yeah.
It was, I think, Felton was out there. So you could have said, well, you can give Felton a shot. He works hard, whatever. I want to say Brewer was out there with him.
Yeah.
And Russ took it upon himself and said, I got it. That's huge, man.
It's leadership,
and
man.
he competed. He didn't gamble. And when he did gamble, he made sure that the opportunity was there.
Right, and there was somebody backing him up. Like, if he didn't get it, like, there was somebody there that was going to help. So.
And then even when Paul George returned to the court, Russ stayed on him.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally shut James Harden down for 5 minutes.
Yeah. That was like the stretch where the Rockets didn't score for 4 or 5 minutes straight, right?
Uh-huh. And I mean, it's early. But that's one of those things that James Harden has that reputation of a little bit of a choke artist. You get in his head a little bit. You can crush him mentally. And one thing I think we know Russ, he has his moments where he appears mentally weak because he'll let like a rookie get in his mind.
Yeah.
But I think when the playoffs roll around, man, that guy is about as mentally tough as anyone. He's not gonna stop. He's not gonna stop. And if you can get in James Harden's head, That could mean something.
That could be a secret weapon.
So I think these last two games,
And Chris
also,
Paul's, by the way. Chris Paul also is a
Yeah.
weak-minded person.
Oh, absolutely.
I completely stand by that. Yes, I agree with you.
By the way, quick aside, the looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 non-paint twos that the Rockets took all game, and one of those was probably just a foot on the line, or two of those were probably a foot on the line, 3. So, but these last two games, I think, especially with Russ, talking about that mental toughness, kind of that you saw a bad, not necessarily bad, but an inefficient game from Russ, and a really just offensive explosion game from Russ in these last two. You're seeing that playoff Russ where he's got that mental fortitude. He's really ramped it up. It's like, okay, you know what, this is do or die time. Like we're sitting on, we're almost on the outside looking in.
Right.
So might as well pick up my game, and like especially with the defensive effort last night, just how he was matching everything that Golden State was doing the other night in that loss. We're starting to see a playoff for us, and I think it's one of the we always talk about it. This team goes as Russell goes.
Yep.
So if he's going to put that effort out these last two games, maybe it filters through. Maybe Miami and especially Memphis. Memphis, you need to beat by 50. Maybe that kind of filters down throughout the team. They're like, okay, Russ is doing it. We got to pick it up. This is do or die time.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
The problem is you can't force shots to go in, and Westbrook, George, and Anthony are all capable of throwing up 5 for 25 games or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But you're going to get these 10 for 28 games out of Russ. It's going to happen. The thing that makes him so great is that he does so much else. And when you get that Russ on the defensive end,
Oh man.
you'll take 10 for 28 all day
Yeah.
because he does
making
do
up for it.
so much. 10 assists, 7 rebounds, 4 steals. I mean, the guy is everywhere, right? How... I was thinking about it last night. You know why we love Russell Westbrook so much as Thunder fans, Oklahoma City, everyone. The people that love Russell Westbrook because he's the first one to the floor. He's the best player on his team, and he's the first one on the floor. You don't see that very often, man.
Instantly.
You just don't see, and you have to respect that, and he's not just going to not do that.
Yeah.
He does that. He wants that ball more than you, and usually he gets it.
Yeah,
That's what's so impressive about it.
It's like he wills everything to happen. But I mean, sometimes it can be a negative at points where, it's like he's trying to will stuff
we've
so hard.
always said about him, right?
But it's
a
you just
give
gotta
and
take
take
it.
with him. Yep.
Well, I mean, I'll use a really, really weird example of this. I'm talking about first on the floor. Last year, Russell Westbrook, clearly the best player on this team, really the only player on this team.
Ooh.
You can move around how you talk, like how you introduce the starting lineups. Russ stayed first. Russ could have been the last one, like Kevin Durant always was, like Paul George is now. Russ stayed first. Russ wants to be the first one out there. He wants his name. He wants to lead that team in all phases of the game, whether that's just being introduced as a starter or just any other facet of the game. Russ wants to be that guy.
That's why it's hard to put any blame on him in the end. Like when you look at things and you're like obviously you can blame him for some stuff. Like
Yeah, I mean,
when
there
you
are
talk about
games here and there,
sloppiness,
and you're
bad turnovers, poor shot selection, sure. But when you talk about the effort that he puts forth as far as these 50-50 balls, and then when you see what he did defensively, obviously this isn't a thing that he does every single game, but when you see what he did against the best team in the league, what felt like
against the probable MVP.
Yeah, the MVP. He's going to be the MVP.
Yeah.
A team that no one gave you really a chance to win, but if you win, it's huge, and it turned out to be huge. And you see what he does. If you're Paul George, if you're Carmelo Anthony, if you're Steven Adams, and you see what this guy's doing, how can you not be like, man, look what Russ is doing? Like, I have to step it up, or I'll be embarrassed, As an athlete, as a competitor, that's a little embarrassing if you don't match someone else's intensity.
I want to run through brick walls with that guy.
Yeah.
That's the kind of attitude that he has.
That sounds like a bad time, but
So did the Thunder show you anything that you didn't know already? Or is this like typical Thunder? Disappointing for, lost 5 of the last 7, then of course they go beat Houston on the road.
Well, yeah, I mean, we kind of sort of expected them to win one of those games against either the Warriors or the Rockets. And, I mean, they thankfully did it. Like, it was a little scary thinking there in, like, the second half, like at the start of the third or whatever, where you're like, oh, God, are they going to drop this one too? And we're just going to not make the playoffs? But I don't know. Like, I think they did show me something in being able to lock up that offense that the Rockets have. I mean, like, nobody can do that in this league. And they were able to do it for a really intense stretch of the game.
And that's a good
on
point.
their home court.
And the Thunder have done this before.
Yeah.
They played really good defense against the Rockets before, and now you don't have Andre Robertson, which obviously hurts.
And they're 3-1 against the Rockets now, so right?
2-1.
2-1.
We got the tiebreaker against the Rockets.
If we can just catch them. But even last year in the playoffs, the Thunder lost in 5 games, but the Thunder did pretty good defensively. They just couldn't score.
Yeah.
And the Rockets are going to have a good. I mean, that's what the Thunder are. They're long, they're athletic, and they're going to scramble. They're going to make you scramble. And I think if you do that to a team like Houston, who's so, James Harden will sit there with the ball for 12 seconds at a time doing a Carmelo jab step, except he's effective, obviously, and he'll just lull you to sleep and then pop it in your face. Now, if the Thunder can just make things difficult for them, you never know what could happen.
Agreed.
Another guy, Grant, this is my not-so-obvious player of the week, twice in 3 weeks, I believe, is Jerami Grant.
He's getting it done, man.
17.7 minutes per game this week, 8.5 points on 71.4% shooting. He made his only 3 that he took, which was a huge one in that Rockets game. Late shot clock. Russ kind of put him in a bad spot. He was not even open. Put it up. Nothing but
I
net.
jumped out of my seat when that happened, and I did not expect that shot to go in. Like, I was like, oh, God, he's going to have to take that, and it's...
No, yeah. One of those. He got to the line 8 times in 2 games, making 6 of them, so he shot 75% at the line, 3.5 rebounds.
Super critical rebounds.
And 2 blocks. Man, this guy is showing, I think, that we can trust this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's scary that he's a free agent, but you can trust this guy, man. He's like a go-to player.
Yeah.
When he's on the court.
Well, I mean, I think we were someone mentioned it last night in the chat, like where when he's on the floor with Paul George, it's almost like he's a more a better option to go to offensively. This is weird.
If there was a pre-All-Star break and post-All-Star break set of awards where it was post-All-Star break most improved player, Jerami Grant's got to be up there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 20 minutes seems low for how effective he is. But you did see, and to Billy Donovan's credit, he saw that Grant at the 5, man, he can be a matchup issue. And when you're playing a team like the Rockets, where Capella is probably quicker, is probably more athletic than Steven Adams and longer, it can give Steven Adams some problems.
He does.
And Billy opted to keep Adams on the bench and roll with Grant. Grant played the last 13 plus minutes of the game he played consecutively.
Well, and you're right. Like, it's nice to see Billy stick with that because you've seen in a couple games where it's like, oh, well, that was working really well, and then he suddenly goes away from it because he's like, well, I got to play this guy, and it's like, well, hey, if this is working, like, let's keep it going, like, especially with him because he was having such a good game that night.
He has this ability to disrupt rebounds. Even he just obviously he's so hard. Imagine trying to guard him. Not off the dribble or anything, but when you can't really make a play for the ball because his arms are so long and the ball's so far away from his body.
A fella.
You can't calculate where the ball's going to be because you don't know. His arms are just so long. He's just stretching out. His steps are so herky-jerky.
Yeah, when he's going to the rim, it's like, I don't know, he can wrap his legs around you and somehow get to the rim. I don't know how he does it, but
he played 20 minutes in that game, and it makes me wonder, is that low? Is he going to play more in the playoffs? He's good enough to play more than 20 minutes in the playoffs.
Yeah, he is. I just don't know if he will, is the thing.
Do you think that maybe Billy's onto something here? Maybe you don't want to play Adams 37 minutes. Maybe you need to bring him down a little bit and keep him a little fresher.
I mean, if there are matchups where you could use Jerami at the 5, which there are a lot of times, especially against teams nowadays, I think that was a good move.
I'm not opposed to it.
Well, Steven Adams is kind of a little bit of a chicken and the egg. Steven Adams gets a bunch of attempts and touches early, and then it wanes towards the end of the game. Mm-hmm. Is that all because our starters just kind of shut him out? Probably, but could it also be just Adams shows a lot of fatigue because he's playing a lot of minutes? He's a big guy. There's a lot of wear and tear. He hits the deck a lot. That could also be a thing. Jerami Grant being able to play both the 5 and kind of step into Melo's role that gives him a lot of versatility. You can throw him in. He's obviously played really well. It's got to give you a lot of confidence in him going into the playoffs. But at the same time, we don't really know with Billy Donovan. We can't get a window into that mind to know what's going on.
You're right. And like we said, I think maybe it was me and Rob on the Aftershock last time. We talked about how deep is the wrong word, but how the depth of this team is kind of loaded towards that front court. When you talk about Patterson and Jerami Grant, and so that makes it a little difficult when you talk about Melo and Steven Adams, who are two of your top 5-6 players on this team, obviously. But then Jerami Grant's also one of your top 5-6 players on this team. Then Patterson might be around 5 or 6, 7 maybe.
Right.
So it gets a little hard. There's only so many minutes to go around. And clearly, I don't think you want to play Grant at the 3 anymore, or the 2, even like they've done in the past. Yeah. He's good down there, man.
He's so useful. He's so useful as a 4 or 5.
And I thought Van Gundy made I think it was Van Gundy, made a really good point.
Probably was, because he's smart.
That
definitely wasn't Mark Jackson, I can tell you that.
At least out of Jerami Grant, you know what you're getting. Mm-hmm. You know you're getting a guy that is going to play really, really hard.
Yeah.
That's huge.
What more could you want?
That's huge, because that's something all season long that we've complained about this team. Where's the effort?
Right.
Where's the desire? Where's the want? Where's the will? You see it out of Russell Westbrook more often than not. You see it out of Jerami Grant more often than not. I think that's a big deal going into the list.
DZ from YouTube just said, "What do you think of those people saying the Rockets threw the game at the end?" I haven't seen these, but
that's stupid.
It's ridiculous.
Players don't throw games.
Yeah, and the Rockets clearly wanted this game. Like, they played their starters all the way to the end.
Yeah.
If the Rockets wanted to throw the game, they would have rolled out like
Gerald Green at
Here
point.
you go. Zuki, Tariq Black, Tim Quarterman, and R.J. Hunter. That's who would have been on the court if they wanted to throw the game.
Yeah,
exactly.
James Harden would have been wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Chris Paul would have been at home watching the game on TV like we were.
With a State Farm agent.
I almost think that I think it sweetens this one a little bit when you see guys like Mbah Moute have a good game, 2 for 2 from 3. PJ Tucker get off to a hot start. Hits 4 threes in the game. This team just jacks up threes, and they make a lot of them. But you did a good job on Trevor Ariza. And like we talked about earlier, you did a good job on Chris Paul. And
it was trying
on James Harden.
Yeah, and it was trying to make those guys like PJ Tucker beat you. And in the second half, it didn't really work out for him. So.
Yeah. And going back to Adams, we were talking about him. One thing, you're right, Justin, where obviously they go away from Adams as the game progresses. The Thunder do this. They have a history of doing this.
Yeah.
Last night, man, they were almost forcing the ball to him in the post, and he had a couple hook shots.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I like that. I like that shot, man.
It was really nice.
Don't be afraid to shoot that.
Yeah.
He knocks it down, even in traffic. He's bigger than everyone else.
He has gotten really good at it, man.
I'm not opposed to it. Is this the playoff rotation that we expect to see? Off the bench, Patterson, Grant, Felton, Abrines?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it a couple times now, I think. I mean, I'm pretty sure Houston and Ferguson are, for the most part, out. I mean, there's going to be some matchup situations. I mean, if we do end up playing the Warriors, I definitely expect to see a little Houston, just because he can at least be a body on KD that's
agreed a
little long. And
you could even see Houston in a Rocket series, too.
Yeah.
If you need another defender on James Harden.
For sure. Hey, guys, let's take a minute to tell you about our sponsor, Wellness Perspective. Wellness Perspective is a growing community of regular people and business partners that make it easier for you to live a happy, healthful life.
Wellness Perspective does this by providing support, motivation, advice, and huge discounts on the services, products, and memberships that are essential to living healthy.
So check this out. This Thursday.
It's this coming Thursday.
Get your calendars out.
Yeah, write it down, pencil, pen. Put it in Sharpie.
I like it.
So Thursday, 6 to 8, Wellness Perspective throwing a launch party at Lululemon on Class and Curve right here in Oklahoma City. Whether you're already a member or just someone who needs a little push to start living healthier, hey, you know what? New Year's was like 4 months ago. Time to get back on that that resolution there.
Yeah.
Live a little
get
healthier.
Get back on that horse.
Yeah. We all slip off every once in a while.
Me every day.
So this Thursday, you should absolutely check out that launch party.
Agree. And another reason to check it out, free stuff.
Yes.
Everybody loves free stuff.
Free stuff is cool.
So here's some of the stuff they're giving away. Not all of it. 3-month membership to our friends over at ARC, Athletic Recovery and Rehabilitation.
That's the place they give cryo. We went and did it last week. Cryo, float spas.
They have like a thermal, what is that called?
The sauna?
Sauna. That's the one. And they got Netflix up in there.
Thermal steamy box.
Yeah, they have thermal steam box with Netflix in there.
You can watch Netflix in the sauna.
Pretty cool. Also, a 3-month membership to Anytime Fitness at North Park Mall. Lululemon is actually giving away a $200 workout outfit. And last but not least, you can get a 3-month subscription to Knickers Box, which is a Panty of the Month club. So for your chick, or if you are a chick, you can get some free panties every month.
And this launch party is at Lululemon. Lululemon's like super high quality stuff. $200 workout outfit from Lululemon is probably going to be pretty legit. So many giveaways. So search Wellness Perspective Launch Party on Facebook if you know how to use it. Let them know you'll be in attendance. But you don't have to RSVP. You can just show up and still be able to win and be eligible to win these great prizes. Once again, the launch party is this Thursday from 6 to 8 at Lululemon on Class and Curve.
So check out all of these great partners that Wellness Perspective has, as well as mywellnessperspective.com. Find them there. Sign up, $7.97 a month. Great membership, and get healthy.
All right, so let's go back to Abrines. 27 minutes, 1 for 8 from the field. Had some good looks from 3, but 0 for 7. Just couldn't get one to drop. But overall, played a good game, wouldn't you say? He was okay defensively.
Mm-hmm. It was weird to me because usually when Abrines' shot's not falling, I'm like, oh god,
Yeah, get him off the floor.
oh god,
Yeah.
because I saw his first like 3 clank and they didn't look good at, you know what I mean? Like they were just kind of,
Oh, they were way off.
they were just
yeah.
not
His first
gonna-
3-4 shots were
Yeah.
way off.
and so I was like, oh, this is gonna end poorly. And then every time he was around, like when he was defending, I was like, he's actually in the right position. This is actually looking good.
He was a step quicker. It's kind of, we saw it a little bit last year where it was kind of that classic, like, okay, he's just a rookie. He's a little bit weak, but you could see that he knows how to play defense. And then this entire year is like, oh, no, I was completely wrong. Last night you saw it again. Like, hey, he does know how to play defense. It just takes a little bit. He's not the greatest at it, but he can do it.
Right. Well, and it's Billy mentioned, and I've brought this up a couple times, where Billy has said, you know, if Alex will get in the right position, he can play defense. It's just like he's got to be in the right spot, and he
It's a
hasn't
little slow
done
to
that
get there
a lot of the season, and he's finally kind of caught back up with that, and he's starting to get himself in the correct spot.
Is it not strange that he tends to do this against the better teams?
It is weird, but I mean, that's
What's the deal with that?
That's a Thunder thing that we do.
I don't. Maybe some of it's film. Maybe
Yeah.
the film sessions are a little bit more intense. Maybe it's that over the last few weeks we've had so much time off that he's had the chance to really sit there and dissect film. Look at what Chris Paul's tendencies are, and because it seemed like he was anticipating a lot
Right.
better,
That's a good
especially
point.
on James Harden. Like it didn't happen a whole bunch, but he moved a lot better. He knew that first move. He was right there every time that first move was made that first step with the guy, and it was great.
You think Andre's been sitting around with him, been like, "Hey, bro, this is how this works."
The
man."
thing about Abrines is he has good size, man. He's lanky,
Yeah.
but he has good size. He's, 6'6". He's got good length on him. He's got good athleticism.
Boy can dunk.
Decently quick feet. What I liked about his game, like we said, 1 for 8 from the field, 0 for 7 from 3, only scored 4 points, 2 of those at the free throw line. He found ways to impact the game outside of what he normally does.
Right.
Like you said, Justin and Jason, he was okay defensively. Not bad. He was a plus, you could even say. But 5 rebounds, he got dirty in there.
And there was a couple rebounds that he got that were like, "Oh, thank
Big
God."
rebound. 2 steals, one of them being, I don't know if they gave him credit for that steal where
The
Russ
head-to-head?
poked it from behind on Harden, and the ball kind of got deflected. But his awareness to know that Russ is up the court
And get the ball
get
to
it up
him.
there.
And he didn't have that ball for more than a half second. He touches it, and the first thing he's doing is launching it to Russ.
Yeah, and
for
you
the
can tell
head-to-head.
anytime he gets the ball in the backcourt, the first thing he does is, "Where's Russ at?" And he just finds him instantly. And I think that's one reason Russ probably finds him back on the other side.
I rewatching the game, I noticed after Abrines missed his first couple that Russ, when he went to the when he went to the bench, when the offense was coming back down the court, Russ, you could read his lips and he was yelling, "Alex, Alex," and he said, "Keep shooting it, keep shooting it." Even when
love
he was
that.
off the court, right? He's saying, "Dude, we need you.
Yeah.
We need you to shoot the ball." Russ, trust this guy.
And that's gotta be great for your confidence as a guy who just missed 3 shots. You're just feeling.
That's exactly why Abrines is going to hang around this team.
Yeah,
I
think so.
because Russ really trusts him. And again, back to giving Billy Donovan credit. 27 minutes for Abrines. We've been saying this for a while.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers, man. He's been too good on the court. He's been too good for this team. Not necessarily individually, but for the team as a whole, he's been too good. Corey Brewer, 23 minutes in a game where Corey Brewer just 2 for 8, 2 for 7 from 3. Probably a little too trigger happy when he is getting in the corner. Probably could give up some of those threes and keep the ball moving. Whatever. But I just like that you trust Abrines down there, even when you know he's going to get switched on James Harden.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so what do you guys want to talk about here? You want to talk about playoff matchups? Or you want to talk about PG's comments?
Oh, it just made me real nervous with the playoff part. Let's talk about PG for a second.
You sure?
No.
All All right, let's talk. You know what? Let's talk about the
I'm
playoff
never sure.
matchups. Then let's go to PG here, because this is getting interesting, guys. Like we said earlier,
This is absurd.
the Thunder could have fell to 9th. The Thunder are currently still in 7th, but you're tied with the Pelicans, with the Spurs. The only problem is you lose the tiebreaker versus those two. So if you're not familiar out there, how it works, obviously if you're in a two-way tie, the tiebreaker is head-to-head. So if the Thunder finish tied with the Spurs, and that's the only team they finished tied with, those teams split 2-2 this year. So then you have to go to the next tiebreaker, which is better conference record, which the Spurs own, so the Spurs would get the tiebreaker. Same thing with the Pelicans. Pelicans beat the Thunder 2-1 this year, so if you tie with them, the Pelicans are going to get the nod. Now, if it's 3 or more teams tied up, which is very good
huge
chance
of.
then you go to the record against all of those teams. So the Thunder, so say Utah, Pelicans, Spurs, and Thunder all tie, then you're going to go, what's the Thunder's record versus Utah, Pelicans, and the Spurs this season? And you do it for every team, and you rank them, you seed them based on the top records.
Wow.
Now, you could say the Thunder have the easiest schedule remaining amongst these teams. So the Thunder have at Miami, tough game, playoff team, fighting for position just as the Thunder are.
Right.
So that's
So
not
both teams have something to play for.
that's not a
That's not
gimme
just-
at all. Then you have Memphis at home. Should be a gimme. Keyword
Should be.
Should. Keyword should be.
It's 2 words.
2 words.
Keyword 2 words.
Utah plays the Lakers today. I believe they start at 5. It is in LA. You never know with this Lakers team. They
Go
can
ahead
knock
and
them
root
off.
for the Lakers.
And then Utah plays. You looked it up, right?
It was, I think, the Blazers and the Dubs.
I think that's. Oh, yep. That's
I don't know if
exactly
it's in that order, though.
So those are 2 tough games for them, and those are 2 teams that the Thunder aren't worried about, the Blazers or the Dubs, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The Spurs, they have Sacramento at home. You can pretty much pencil that in as a win, I believe. But then they have to go on the road to the Pelicans. Spurs have not been good on the road all year.
Someone has to lose that game.
Someone has to lose that game. Exactly right. And hopefully it's the Spurs, really, because you expect
Right.
them to beat the Kings. Now, the Pelicans have to play. Who do they play? They play the Spurs and then one other team. Hold on, I got it right here. Clippers at LA. Not a gimme.
No, I mean
They're
the
out of the
Clippers
playoffs. They're
randomly-
eliminated.
Like the Clippers will randomly play a really good game.
They haven't been playing very well lately. But the point is, if the Thunder can win out, all it takes is all of those teams to lose one game, and the Thunder are in 4th place.
Which is absurd.
This is insanity.
Like, it's so crazy to me. They could either be in 4th or somewhere through 8th,
Yeah.
or they could not be in the playoffs.
Lose out, and you might be out. The cool thing is Denver and Minnesota play each other, so that kind of cancels one another out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you want. I don't know what you expect here.
Is there a preference in that Denver Minnesota game for who wins or loses?
No,
to
they're
what happens
tied
to
up.
us?
They're tied up. No, they're a game behind the Thunder, so they both have the tiebreaker.
And they might as well be the same team at some point.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. So really, if you're the Thunder, you just got to go out and win. All 3 of these teams, like you said, Jason, New Orleans and San Antonio have to play each other, right? Utah's got a tough schedule.
Yeah.
So one of those teams is going to lose. So if you win your games, you're going to move up.
Yeah. So we can at least get to 6th. Maybe not have to play the Warriors, which would be nice.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
And this has been
Except then you
such
got the
a
Blazers.
Yeah, and so, I mean, but we all talked about that last week. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I would pick the Blazers over having to play even the Stephless Warriors.
Yeah, probably.
this has been such a tough division. I
Oh,
mean,
man.
7 through 9, and then 3 and 4. Are
Like
that's
our whole
that's your
division is in there. Yeah.
Whereas the Rockets and the Spurs and the Pelicans, okay, and then you go all the way down. The Grizzlies and the Mavericks are 13th and 14th in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
The Suns the worst team in basketball. It's
As always.
it's so amazing that this is what Thunder fans grew up with. Like when we really early in the franchise, it was the Northwest Division was a damn gauntlet.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you won that division, like you were going places in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that way again, except now it's all bunched towards like the bottom.
That's true.
That's weird.
Yeah, Thunder aren't going to win the division this year, but
Nope.
you got the one team you do have the tiebreaker over is Utah.
Yeah.
So if the Thunder finish tied up with Utah, Pelicans, and Spurs, if there is a 4-way tie, that's good news for the Thunder because the Thunder are 3-1 versus Utah, and they're 2-2 versus
Tied
Spurs.
with Spurs, right?
So the seeding in that situation would actually be Utah at 4, Thunder at 5, and then Pelicans 6, Spurs 7.
And that's because of what you were talking about before, what's the record against all those teams.
Exactly. If those teams finish
So
tied.
then our Pelicans disaster doesn't haunt us.
It's just insanity that there's 2 games left for the Thunder, yet
You have no idea.
so many scenarios, man. We don't know.
No idea.
We don't know. So have you guys changed at all what you kind of prefer since we spoke last week about this?
I mean, not really.
Yeah.
I actually still think that we're going to end up in this 5th seed.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It's kind of what
it's
you're
kind of what I'm
feeling.
banking on.
Mhm. You think the Thunder are going to win out?
I would hope so, but I'm not confident in it.
Yeah.
Because they're not that team that you can be like. You can't trust this team with anything.
If you look at the trends of the season, it feels like they'll win out. Not because they step up to the plate when they need to. Definitely not because of that. But because they lost 5 of their last 7 before this last game, and they have this way of doing that, and then they go on a little mini streak, right? And then they do it again. Then they rinse and repeat.
But we're like 500 since we're basically at 500 in our last 10, right, or something like that.
Something like that.
So I mean, it would go to reason to me that we would lose one of these and win one of them.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked if they lost to the Heat. And
I wouldn't either.
At the same time, though,
It's gonna
the Heat,
piss me off if they beat the Heat and lose to the Grizzlies.
Oh, my
I
God.
will be so furious.
the Heat are the equivalent of a 10 seed in the Western Conference by record. So
Are they really?
Is that they're a game up on the Clippers. So is that an acceptable loss?
It
No.
is on the road. I mean,
I don't think so.
I don't know
Especially
if it's
when seating is so important. No, I
I'm
don't
with
think
you,
it's
man.
acceptable.
I'm with. See, I think, but it's all,
But what are you gonna do if they lose?
and it could all change.
Bitch.
It
Bitch
could all,
about it.
Harumph.
it could all change though if you just beat the Kings earlier in the year,
Yeah,
or if you
or-
didn't lose twice to the Dallas Mavericks. You know what I mean?
Or if you didn't drop that 1-point game to the Celtics.
So to your point, Justin, you take care of those games, or one of those games,
Any one of them.
yeah.
Just one.
Then you can accept a loss to a team fighting for playoff position in the Miami Heat on the road. But now you might be right; it might not be an acceptable loss.
Hell, remember when the Trailblazers went on that epic tear?
Yeah.
And it just seemed like they were running away with the 3 seed. Well, now 3 of those games, you're winning the division.
Yeah.
You're only 2 games behind. You win those 3 games, you're winning the division again. You get another banner.
Which would have been awesome. Not happening.
Which is just that would be
Damn
cool.
it.
That would be cool.
Our team is
But the main
stupid.
thing now,
It's fun though.
get into the playoffs.
You know, it sucks when you have such a rooting interest because it is so fun. Like what's happening right now
Yeah.
is awesome, but it's also terrible.
Yeah.
If you're,
Stressful.
it's so
Man,
like he's freaking out right now.
Every game, seriously, is me just doing that the whole time. Like I think I told you guys this last night. I was nervous up until Russ had his interview on the game last night. I was still like, dude, are you sure we won?
Yeah.
They didn't take back a 3 or something.
I have this habit now at the end of games where I don't look at the score. Like I'm not doing it on purpose, but it's almost like this team has like instilled this habit in me. Because last night there was a minute and a half left, and I think the Thunder were up like 9 or 10, and I was like, it felt like the game should be over, but I still
wasn't-
was not convinced it's over.
That foul, like when PG got fouled and like kind of lost the ball.
Mm-hmm.
For a second, I didn't think they were going to call the foul, and he just lost it. I was like, oh, God, we're only up by 3. Oh, shit.
Speaking of fouls, that was a horribly officiated game on both sides. And do the Rockets complain enough?
No.
Jeez.
I mean, you expected it, though, right? I mean,
yes, with Chris Paul.
Ultimate complainer,
but even
Chris
like
Paul.
D'Antoni, dude, like he'd never
I
stops.
I took a couple boomerangs of him just freaking out last night, and it was real fun to watch.
He doesn't stop freaking out. And
Yeah.
the best thing is when Harden complains, and you're like, dude, what are you complaining about?
You wrapped the guy.
Yeah.
You hugged him while you.
And you get these calls nonstop, dude.
Harden is one of the only guys in the NBA that I've seen actually get the call and still complain about it.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, hold on. You got exactly what you wanted. You are
Still
literally
not happy.
You are cheating the game of basketball by how you play. You got the call you wanted. You forced the referee's hand, and you still turn to him and bitch about it.
The Rockets are really good, but I'm in that group that believes that those foul calls will be
Hard to
diminished
come
a
by.
little
They're
bit.
gonna be hard to come by.
And I'm still not a believer of D'Antoni in the playoffs.
Ooh,
I'm
I
just
like it.
not. I'm
I'm
not.
not a believer in James Harden and Chris Paul in the playoffs.
Who do you trust the least out of those 3 in the playoffs?
D'Antoni.
Mine's
I
still
was gonna
Chris
say
Paul.
Harden.
Still, because it's so
So different.
they're done. They're done. We just came this, but no, I'm serious though. Like, I'm still. I know you can win games playing D'Antoni style, especially with their personnel. They have good defenders now.
Clearly,
in
they can win.
Mute and Tucker. Yeah, but I mean, in the playoffs, I think you can win also. But I think it becomes much harder to win that style because those little intangibles start to matter so much come playoff time. And that's why Russell Westbrook has been such a successful playoff player.
Yeah.
He has those intangibles.
Well, especially in the fourth quarter, that last 6 minutes where the game really slows down, that completely destroys D'Antoni's system. Like, okay, so we were in rhythm, but now everything's really slow. Like, you have to find your own rhythm. It's kind of what happened last night, is that when the Rockets are forced to find their rhythm, they can't because they haven't been playing that way.
Yeah. And now, basically, D'Antoni's system is just give the ball to Harden or Paul.
ISO.
Let them ISO and make a play. And they're both really damn good at it, obviously. But those things tighten up, and it gets harder to do, man. You get more physical. You see a team for 7 times in a series. You get more ideas. You can change things up. And I don't know how – I wonder how many options that a team like the Rockets have in order to switch things up. They don't seem that deep.
All right, you've talked me into it. Let's get the 8 seed.
All right, question. Is first half Melo from the Rockets game?
Okay.
Is that playoff Melo? And if it is, does that get us out of the first round?
I mean, that would be great if that's playoff Melo, but I don't think there is such a thing as playoff Melo.
I don't think
I'm
Melo even knows
inventing
what
him.
playoff Melo looks like. Yeah.
I mean, I think he has one of, if not the worst record in the playoffs of any player that's played as many games as he has.
Well, I mean, he shot 50% last night, so
Hey,
I'm
not
for
bad.
it.
He started 7 for 9, right?
was
In the
really
first half,
good,
he was
yeah.
7 for 9. What about that baseline drive he had for a
He
dunk?
dunked,
You're right. We should be giving more credit to Melo because he came to play last night.
He did.
And it's huge.
and he did all right defensively.
For as much as we kind of rag on him, we need to give him credit.
yeah,
when it's due.
we're giving him props.
Yeah.
Stop getting
Yeah,
angry with us.
stop attacking us. Good game from Melo. It was huge. It was much needed. Now let's move on to Paul George.
Who?
His comments
Paul George.
kind of echoed what he said early in
His
this
middle name
year.
is Paul.
Said that he can see himself in Oklahoma City going forward. It's not championship or bust. Do you believe him? Finally, he got asked a free agency question. It's been forever, and it seemed like good timing.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, with everything he's saying, it seems like he's at least giving us a chance, which is all you could have hoped for.
But do you believe him?
Do I believe him 100%?
Yes.
Like, just that he's staying?
No. Do you believe that he's actually considering it? Actually?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do. And what I was getting at is I think all you can hope for from us getting him for this 1 year was that we would have a decent year this year. Kind of didn't happen. But that
Hasn't happened yet.
yes. It's still got possibilities.
16 wins.
So we get that decent year maybe, and you got to pitch to him all year. You got to build a relationship with Russell Westbrook and now Melo, and who's most likely going to be here. So you got to. We wouldn't have been in that conversation. We wouldn't have had any pitch to him at all. Like he would have just gone to the Lakers probably in free agency. So
Yeah,
at least
definitely.
we've got set up for that, and
Maybe
maybe he'll stay.
And to be clear, I'm not saying the trade was about it. I'm not. Obviously, you make that trade every single time, and you're exactly right. The Thunder, Sam Presti put the Thunder in position to get a little head start in free agency because obviously you're not a player in free agency, but now you become a player in free agency.
All of a sudden, you do.
Do you agree? You believe him?
Well,
That's my answer to it.
do I believe that he believes the thing that he's saying?
Is he telling the truth when he's saying that?
85%.
Yeah.
I also like it's one of those things where
He's
I'm not
burnt,
gonna
jaded.
I'm not gonna believe anything until his name is on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I was almost that way with Russ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the extension, it's like I don't believe it until he signs the
Right.
damn thing.
Which thank God he did.
He did.
That's nice. So Blake Llewellyn from YouTube says he told Indy that he wasn't coming back. Why wouldn't he do the same for OKC, especially with Dre going down?
That's a fair point.
That is solid.
I guess because you have you have a player that's better than you on this team would be my only explanation for that. So you can't steal the spotlight from that. Like maybe you learn lessons, and I think he learned his lesson that maybe you shouldn't have been so public about it. And
Yeah, it didn't seem as good as he thought it would probably to say that.
Yeah.
Which I thought it would. I commended him for it at the time when he told Indy that. I thought it was really nice of him.
Agreed.
But then a lot of Indy people were pissed off about it. I was like, well, at least he told you guys. That's because we were just recently.
If you listen to the recent Zach Lowe pod with Royce Young,
Very good.
Royce Young said something very interesting to me. He said that he thinks that Paul George in interviews has a tendency to just say stuff.
Yeah.
He just kind of says kind of what, maybe not necessarily what you want to hear, but
what's on his brain.
It's almost like
what he should say.
Yeah.
Or something. You know?
He's like a people pleasing a little, like
a little bit of a people pleaser.
They kind of want me to say this, so I'll just say that. Like, get out
that
of the
stuck
question.
with me because I'm like, man, I can kind of see that. Like, I can kind of see where that's coming from a little bit. And, you know, I bet it was 2-3 months ago, probably about 3 months ago, when the Thunder were actually really playing well. And I said I was convinced he was coming back. He was going to sign a 1-and-1.
Right. But then he came
I've
out
gone
and
downhill
said,
from then, though. Like,
well, he
I don't
did
know
say
why.
that he didn't want to do a 1 year, right? Like
I said he wanted to
but
wherever
who knows
he
if
was.
that's true.
Right. He said a lot of things.
So can I bring it down just a little bit?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Like he hasn't said that he's not coming back, and like he did tell Indiana that. That doesn't mean he can't still tell us that he's not coming
Oh,
back.
definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely not.
Like,
There's plenty of time
it
for
could
him to
still
say
Yeah,
that.
there's a lot of time left. There's a little bit of basketball, and then some other basketball, and then there's a lot of just dead space.
And it goes back to kind of what we talked about last year when we were worried if Russ wanted to stay. You know, you never know what's going on with his family. Right. What does his family want? Because that could be big to him. Where do they want to stay?
Yeah. Like, is winning that important to him? And does he think he can win here?
Hey, Oklahoma schools are getting better, so just saying.
Want to get to Twitter questions?
Let's do it.
From Daniel Rodero at Daniolo124. Does anybody still have an erection from last night's game?
Here.
None of your damn business, Dan.
Oh, sorry. I just
his
gave-
name's Dan, too. Just like Ace Ventura.
I just.
Oh, thank you to stay out of my personal affairs.
Yes.
Oh,
That's the
right
answer.
then.
You're a weird guy, Ace. Weird guy.
6 to midnight. From T at Drinking Tea. How possible is it that Corey Brewer is drinking bottles of absinthe before games? Because the drunken dribbler has hit a new level lately.
Whenever he gets the
Wow.
ball in transition, it's like, no, just slow it down.
My favorite thing is when he's just open in the paint, and he's just like, "What?
Yeah.
What? I can't shoot it."
Yeah, he had that one last night.
Yeah, where
where
it just stands there. There's been like one of those a game lately.
he's a little chaotic. for
Love
sure.
the guy.
It's
though.
cool that, you know, if Abrines can keep his play up, though, to have options.
Yes.
That's all you want.
Corey Brewer running at that speed is kind of what I imagine actually driving a DeLorean that fast.
It's just most likely going to fall
everything's
apart.
wobbling. Like, I'm pretty sure something's going to come off here.
He's so clumsy.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
From Ben Burke at Ben Burke 10. Can you explain how officiating can be as bad as it was tonight? Meaning last night, obviously.
No.
I mean, there's no explanations all year, right? All year.
It's been bad.
None of them have eyes.
Also, which The Office characters are Thunder players?
Oh, Jesus.
What are the names of the office? Michael Scott,
Jim,
right?
Pam,
Michael,
Michael Scott, Dwight,
Jim. Yep.
Jim.
Stan.
All right, so let's start at the top with Michael
Jim.
Scott.
Stan
Oh, Michael? What is that?
That's probably just Billy Donovan.
That's what I was.
It really is.
Yeah.
Just
It's
goofing
got
around
to be.
with
It's the
everyone.
boss. Jim is Russell Westbrook.
Or
It's the best.
Steven Adams, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. They don't really
This is-
compare very well.
it's a
a
tough
weird-
comparison to make.
Except you could say Kyle Singler's Dwight.
Yes. That's accurate.
Not fair?
Bears
Or
beats
Toby.
Battlestar Galactica.
He might be Toby. The HR,
Oh
the
yeah,
HR
no,
guy.
no.
He's,
Kyle
Kyle Singler's definitely Toby.
The only one that actually works out is Kyle Singler is
Is-
100% Toby.
Yes.
I
Who's
like it.
Pam?
Felton?
Yeah.
What? From Carrie Cicero at Cis66. If each of our players had their own song they got to come out to when introduced, what would it be?
Felton, back to Felton. His would definitely be Who Let the Dogs Out. I could just see him running out to that.
Was he in that music video?
He barks to the barks in it, too. He just...
Now entering the game for your Thunder, number 2, Raven Felton. Who let the dogs out?
so good.
That works.
I could also see him as a DMX guy, too.
Oh, yeah.
Real
Just
aggressive.
It's the barking.
Real
it's the
aggressive.
barking continuation.
Yeah.
No one goes,
X can
That
give
is
it to
a,
you.
yeah. Who else?
I
I could see Steven Adams coming out to some orchestral stuff.
like some Game of Thrones theme
Yeah,
song. That's
something
what he
like
would
that.
have.
Yeah, something real epic.
Russ, I mean, you could do Eye of the Tiger for him, I guess. I don't know what else.
He
Taylor
likes
Swift.
Taylor Swift. So I mentioned this earlier. Is when we're playing the Warriors, he comes out to Blank Space by Taylor
Yes.
Swift.
Absolutely.
And just stares down Kevin Durant the entire time.
Nick Collison's coming out to some. I just had it and I lost it.
no, it's all gone.
God, I lost it. Oh, Pearl Jam. Definitely Pearl Jam.
Hit on.
That's it.
Even though.
Nailed it.
Anyways.
Carmelo. I feel like Carmelo says I don't want any music.
Just some smooth yes.
Paul George, California Love.
Oh.
Dude. Come on. That was a fun question.
Oh, no.
until
By
then.
the way, I wanted to do this. I wanted to make a bet
Oh, yeah.
on. I feel convinced that Paul George is leaving, and I hate to be that bummer because obviously I don't want him to leave. And I'm not going to be the guy when he does leave to rub it, be like, I told you guys. I'm not going to do that because I don't want it. But I'm willing to make a bet here.
Oh, my God.
But it has to go both ways. If he stays, I'm willing to do something a little ridiculous because, number one, it's already a win if he stays. I'm already happy, so I'm willing to lose on another, like get a tattoo of something really just like Paul George's face or Kevin
like
Durant. Kevin Durant's number on my inner thigh.
I'm asking the YouTubes.
Yeah, ask them.
Okay, so this was my idea.
Okay.
Is it of all the teams that offer him a contract, those are the teams that you can be a fan of. And whichever team he signs with, you cannot be a fan of that team. You have to pick from the other teams. So you can
He
still
only
be,
has to do it if he
so
stays.
you could still be a Thunder fan if only the Thunder offer him a contract and he signs it, or
You have to give up your Thunder fandom.
or
I have
if,
to be a fan of
or,
another team.
or if Paul George leaves, but otherwise you can't be a Thunder fan anymore.
What the hell are we gonna do in this podcast?
You're gonna be out.
Yeah.
You're stay out.
You can still be, you'd just be partial.
You guys are gonna hate me now. Like if I'm no longer a Thunder fan.
He's a Warriors fan.
Yeah.
That asshole.
So if he stays, you were saying you might get a Paul George tattoo?
I could do something like that. We need to really
Yeah.
pin down. If you guys have any ideas out there, let us know. I'm willing to get a little ridiculous with this.
All right.
It's time we do something like this for.
So would that mean if he leaves that I have to get a Paul George
I
tattoo?
think that we need to do something like.
Because I don't want to have a Paul George tattoo if he's not on the team.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe we like.
We're a PG podcast.
Isn't it punishment enough, anyways? If he were to leave, like that's probably enough punishment for.
Probably.
So this Aaron Yount says you have to get Durant's face tattooed on your bicep. Oh God,
Ew.
that's too
I'm not willing to go something that's gonna be
showable.
Yeah,
all the
that's
time?
not gonna be.
You're
able to be
always
seen.
showing off
Got
your
to
arms.
get Kevin Durant's face tattooed on your penis.
There it is.
Now that I might do.
Get your penis
You
tattooed.
have to get
look like
Kyle
the space
Singler's
shuttle.
name on your ass. From
I like
using it.
that.
That's pretty good.
I like that.
I want it to be Kyle Singler, but as a tramp stamp with like a bunch of designs and stuff.
A butterfly.
That'll show like in a bathing suit. That'd be terrible.
That'd be the best part.
Dude, just get like an over-the-shoulder one piece. From Todd Lytle at ToddBoy23. Is there anything more refreshing than a crisp black cherry clearly Canadian?
I don't know
What
what
the
that is.
hell is that?
Okay, so first off, I had to do some research. This was apparently like a 90s thing that's coming back or something like that. Anyways, there is no black cherry
You're wrong.
clearly Canadian. There is a wild cherry, but no black cherry. So
Wild cherry
calling-
Pepsi.
I'm shenanigans.
Used to love me some wild cherry Pepsi when I was a child.
Pepsi is disgusting.
Really? I
It's a
like
fact.
Pepsi.
Also, clearly Canadian is just like all the other like Topo Chico and all the other sparkling waters
Can't beat Topo.
that have just become like the huge fad right now. Where's
Dude.
the thing?
Loves
Love
them
Topo
over
Chico.
here.
From Brandon Lloyd at Brandon Lloyd 33. How you guys feeling today?
So good.
Pretty good.
Thanks.
So
yeah,
good.
Thanks for asking.
Appreciate that.
I love that
All right.
question, like a genuine.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, thanks.
you
I
guys okay?
appreciate
Everything
the
okay in
consent.
your life? Like everything?
Yeah.
No one. You think anyone out there cares about our lives? Like
Maybe.
what's happening behind the scenes?
No.
Let's get
no.
into it. No.
No, we're just here for their entertainment, damn
Yeah. God, we're just puppets.
Dancing monkeys.
From Ben Burke 10 at Ben Burke 10 again. Is Chris Paul a dirty player?
Yes.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, and it was pretty amazing last night on the broadcast when he did that whole stuck his butt
He
out.
threw his ass out there.
Man, and they were saying, I don't think that's that's not a foul.
Yeah,
Dude,
Mark,
that's a
Mark
reckless
Jackson
play.
doesn't think so, but that's Mark.
Wait, okay, so it's a foul clearly when Grayson Allen does it playing for Duke.
Yeah.
Well, they rip on him for doing it, but yet Chris Paul does it, and that's
Yeah.
okay?
Right.
No, that's a double standard. Fuck that.
It's one thing to, like, if you're already in front of the guy and you stop, that's one thing. Okay, that's fine. That's a smart play.
Yeah.
But if you stick out laterally,
Yeah.
that's a foul, man.
Yeah.
You cannot do that.
They're trying to trip the guy.
Yeah.
Or draw a foul in another
Yeah.
way, which you don't draw a foul that way. Don't draw a foul by sticking your ass out there.
Blake Llewellyn said that you have to wear an Indy jersey every podcast
Oh.
if he stays.
That wouldn't be that
Victor
hard.
Oladipo.
Oh,
Well, that wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah.
I'd be bummed about it. Having to
I
look
would
at it
too.
all
Yeah.
pod.
And you can't wash it all season.
The problem is if I'm wearing an Indy jersey every pod, that really hurts our viewership. Probably.
Yeah,
They're like,
does.
what is happening
These
here?
guys' credibility is shot.
This makes no sense. That guy really loves the Pacers, apparently.
From Johnny at Triple Double VGC, for me, the most satisfying thing about the Thunder Rockets game was PJ Tucker finally getting called for his so-called screens, which involve hugging Harden's defender and pushing them away. Apart from apart from the obvious W and Russell's defense, what made you happiest about the game?
Man,
Well,
where
he
to
really
start?
used the two best parts of it.
Right.
I would say free throws for me. We
Yeah, that's a good
made
one.
our free throws,
That's a
and we
good
made more than them.
I think what would make me happiest, and obviously it's easiest to say this when the result is a good one, but Billy Donovan. I thought that he coached a really good game, and it was nice to be able to.
It's nice to hear that.
It's nice after a game to be able to say, "Hey, good job, Billy."
Yeah.
Even though he continues to play that Paul George with the bench lineup,
Doesn't make any sense.
woo! But
That noise
You
was
won.
great.
I think it was just team defense. I mean, you had 11 steals. The Rockets had 17 turnovers. Like, man, good job just scrambling around.
Agreed.
like we said,
Yeah.
hold him to 40 in that second half.
Exactly.
Very, very good.
On the road, huge win.
In Houston.
From the Oklahoma City zone, Derek the Brick at OKC Brickman, the one and only Brickman.
Legend.
What's up, man?
Hell yeah. How can OKC piece together 18 more wins for the ring?
Man.
I hope they do.
Guys, I got to tell you, I just don't really have faith that they can
Oh,
do
no.
that.
I don't either, but
But, I don't know if I was actually thinking about this last night. If somehow, miraculously, I don't know, crazy way it happened, right? There was a miracle. They put together this crazy streak. They got hot. They won the championship. Well, how
would
would
it take?
How would this season be viewed? Because this has been, you could make an argument, this has been the worst season as far as when you weigh expectations and
versus
performance.
reality.
Yeah, since really like the very beginning.
Wasn't
Outside of that injury-riddled season, right?
Yeah.
You could really make the argument this has been the most frustrating season, the hardest to enjoy. But then you go put it together, and then you win a championship. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
at that point, we would all be like, man, I should have enjoyed that season a lot more than I did.
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
great.
it's
Now
hard
I gotta go back and watch all 82 games.
yeah,
now.
exactly.
and not be
I gotta
distraught every
relive-
time they lose.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was kind of like on that low post you're talking about. They apparently a bunch of people in the organization have been comparing this team to a Rockets team from years past. I don't remember what
90s.
year.
93,
Mid-90s,
94
yeah,
or
they were
no,
the
sorry,
sixth
94,
seed.
95.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6th seed, and they won
So-
the championship.
I mean, it's possible that it could happen. If
Hey,
you-
it
if you just
happened
give
23 years ago.
If you just give yourself a chance, get in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. You
Don't
never
lose
know
these
what
next
can
two.
happen. I mean, things happen. You never know what. I mean,
Yeah.
Virginia lost to a 16 seed. Things happen. Things can happen, but God, it's a different game when you play a 7-game series.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Aaron Yount from YouTube asks, what's the percentage chance for OKC to make each round of the playoffs?
Well, first round, I think I'll go about 92%.
Okay, I was going to go 85. I'm still scared.
60,
And-
not even 65.
What?
No,
It's got to be
more
higher
like-
than that.
To get into the
to-
playoffs?
No, to make the second
Oh,
round.
second round. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would probably be. Well, it depends on the matchup.
Yeah, that's the hard part right
You're
now.
right. It
is
does.
I
But I
would
guess
s-
you can weigh the possibilities.
I would
right
say
now.
even 50-50 based on possibilities.
I'm going like 45.
I would probably go 50-50 as well.
Western Conference Finals, 5%,
I'll
10%.
go 25.
Oh wow. Yeah, I go about 15%.
And then
I mean, if they make it that far, in my head, they're like, okay, well, you figured some shit out.
Yep.
Like-
Agreed.
NBA Finals, I think, and winning the Finals, I think it's one for both of them.
100%. If they get in there, 100% win. Because
They're clicking at that point.
yeah, you
They're
figured it out.
clicking at that
You
point. They're
figured
winning it
out.
all.
I
That's
know,
actually good
if
logic.
they get there, it's 100%.
Yeah.
If they get to the NBA Finals, they might as well just take the trophy home right.
Tell you
right
what,
then.
they're champions in my book.
Yeah. That was cute. We got two on Abrines. One from Evan McDeasy at Evan ATM. One from Thunder Fans at God is Spanish. So basically, is it weird that Abrines is one of our better defenders now?
I don't know. I
don't know if
would-
he's
I wouldn't-
better,
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
But he's at least he's decent now.
I mean, really, it's
So,
a huge
yeah.
positive that he can hold his own. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the most important thing here.
Yeah. The best part is that he can stay on the floor.
Yeah, and the question, I think the second question says he rotated quite well. Yeah, he did. He did.
Good job. Good job, bud.
From Sheldon West at Swesty. Percent chance that OKC beats Houston in a 7-game series. How about Golden State? And obviously, depending on Curry.
Houston, I go about 35.
Whoa, that's low.
Yep.
I was thinking
Golden State without Curry, I go about 40. With Curry, I go about
20.
12.
yeah. All right.
The thing
I'll let you
is
just
going
have
into
that
the
one.
playoffs, man. If the Thunder make the playoffs, going into the playoffs, I can tell you right now, I'm gonna be a little negative as far as
I
the
can
matchups
see
go.
that.
I just don't. This team hasn't given me a reason to trust them.
Yeah.
I want them to prove me wrong. I'm not just gonna keep blindly believing in them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm done getting burnt by this team.
Yeah. Well, it was like last night watching the game. I kept trying. My hopes kept getting up, and I was like, just quit it.
Yeah, temper.
You quit it. You
Temper.
get down. It's like talking to a dog.
Simmer.
From Brian Davis for MVP at Brian Davis for MVP. Russ locked down Harden in the fourth. Any chance we see this defense from Westbrook in the playoffs? And is there a possibility he becomes Harden's primary defender?
I don't think you can make him his primary defender
Definitely
because
don't do that.
Russ has to do too much.
Yeah.
Can't get him in foul trouble.
But yeah, I think last night showed that if you need to, you can give Westbrook a shot at Harden
For stretches.
For stretches, exactly.
And also, I wouldn't say to depend on you like seeing this defense from Russ. Like, I wouldn't say if you're expecting to see this every game now, don't do that.
Super encouraging though.
But it is nice to see
super
him
encouraging.
bring that out
Just
when
to
he needs
see what he's actually capable of.
it. Yeah.
You're like,
Like,
damn,
oh, you
dude.
tried really hard.
That's that Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year
there
right
he
there.
is.
Dude, the intensity on his face when he picked that ball
Oh,
off.
I loved it
Where
so
it
much.
was just it was very calm, and then like becomes that rabid dog with a
Yeah.
tennis ball in front of him.
And then that block on Harden
Yeah.
at the rim.
Oh, yeah.
God, I love him.
From Always in Forever Art at Always in Forever Art. Why is Billy so quick to pull Patrick Patterson even when he is playing great? Smart player on offense and defense. Hardly ever makes a mistake. I know Melo was hot early, but I felt like Patterson should have finished the game, or even Brewer. You don't lose anything.
It's hard to criticize who finished the game when the game turned out how
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
And it kind of going back to what we talked about how the depth is laid out on this team. It's you got to pick who plays. Not everyone can play. Not all Patterson, Grant, and Melo and Adams can play.
Yeah. And I mean, Patterson did have a really good defensive game. I mean, he didn't do much else. And
it
I
kind
think
of-
they wanted probably the chance for Melo scoring to be out on the floor.
I agree. And I think that we could probably all agree that getting Melo out there in those situations, regardless of if it's better option or not, is probably better for the morale of the team, the overall morale. Now, I wonder if Billy is kind of stuck with Patterson playing around 13 minutes a game. That's kind of how he's been doing that lately. That's kind of been where he's stuck at.
From Todd Weidel to close it all down at ToddBoy23. Lottery pick, bring PG back, healthy Dre. Is that not a better scenario than likely getting bounced in the first round?
Tanking out the playoffs.
Why would Paul George want to return if
Yeah.
if you don't make the playoffs? I don't think so.
Not a good idea.
Plus, are the owners going to be very thrilled if you don't make the playoffs and they're
And-
paying all this money?
Also, you have Russell Westbrook on your team who's not going to lose.
Feels
He's
like
not
a
gonna try
wasted
to
year.
lose.
Feels like a wasted. I mean, if PG returns, obviously it doesn't feel like a wasted year, but I have a tough time believing Paul George returns if you don't make the playoffs.
Aaron Yon again asked who y'all have winning the Masters. I don't care. Anyone?
Oh, he's good. I saw him.
Yeah, he's a good golf man. He's a golf man.
Well, right now you've got Patrick Reed at 14 under. Spieth is at 10 under. Rahm McElroy also at 10 under. Fowler.
I'm going to go with that Reed guy. He's far ahead.
Yeah, Reed sounds good.
I'm going to
Pick
go
him.
because I drafted earlier this week with one of my buddies. I'm going to go with Jordan. I think he makes the run at it. And I think Patrick Reed, I think he's only through 8, so he's playing 9 right now. I think that back 9 does what the back 9 on Sunday at Augusta National can do. It can crush you if you don't go about it with the right idea, the right mindset. And I think that happens to Patrick Reed. I think one of these guys, Spieth, Fowler, McElroy, Rahm, not even Rahm. I think one of those 3 guys gets it done.
You should do a golf podcast.
You should. That was impressive.
I like golf, man.
Did you say you drafted for a fantasy golf?
Yeah, my buddy and I
did not know that existed until this second.
It's literally just my friend and I. We picked 4 golfers,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
and we aggregate score wins. So.
Okay. All right.
Notes?
Notes!
Russell Westbrook and Paul George were named to the 2018 through 2020 United States national team roster, along with the following: Harrison Barnes, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Jimmy Butler, Mike Conley Jr., DeMarcus Cousins, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, DeMar DeRozan, Andre Drummond, Kevin Durant, Eric Gordon, Draymond Green, Blake Griffin, James Harden, Tobias Harris, Gordon Hayward, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, DeAndre Jordan, Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard, Kevin Love, Kyle Lowry, CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, Victor Oladipo, Chris Paul, Isaiah Thomas, Klay Thompson, Miles Turner, Kemba Walker, John Wall. There you go.
You did it.
Jordan Brand. By the way, I really do hope Russ plays on the national team again because it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's very enjoyable.
1, 2. What is that? 1, 2, 3.
Are you gonna count now?
Now?
So what? 5 of those guys have played for the Thunder.
Oh.
That sucks. And then one of them is from Oklahoma. So let's make it 6.
Oklahoma ties everywhere. Jordan Brand is commemorating Carmelo Anthony's 2003 championship run with Syracuse with the release of a new sneaker. The Air Jordan 9 Mop Melo features a brown and gold colorway inspired by the national championship trophy, including embossed leather that resembles wood grain. Anthony's old number 15 appears on the heel of each shoe.
Also comes with a free mop, so that's cool.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's the 15-year anniversary of that.
Man, that was pretty crazy. That if you guys out there don't remember this or weren't alive or didn't watch it, whatever, he ran through the Big 12. If you remember.
That's how it's been.
didn't.
Villanova just did the same thing.
Yeah.
It seems like you have to run through the Big 12 to win an NBA championship.
And the Big 12 was really good.
now?
That was when Blake Griffin was at OU, right? No, Hollis Price. That was Hollis Price. That was the OU had gone to the Final Four the year before, and OU had a number 1 seed that year, and I think Syracuse beat Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas on the way to championship.
I think all in a row. I think it was Texas, OSU, Oklahoma, Kansas.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right.
Something about.
You're right.
And for the first time since 1976, Los Angeles and New York will not be represented in the NBA playoffs.
Whoa.
Wow.
Pretty
That's
crazy.
4 teams, and they couldn't get one in.
42 years. 42 years.
Am I missing an NBA team?
Huh?
They're only the 2 from New York.
Yeah.
I get confused because Buffalo has so many teams.
On the NBA.
Yeah. Not in the NBA, obviously.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Up next, at Miami tomorrow night, or today if you're listening tomorrow, Thunder are 1-0. Handled business at home against them earlier. Was not a pretty game, though, if you remember.
Was real ugly.
Then on Wednesday, last game of the year, the Thunder hosts the Grizzlies. They're 3-0 against the Grizzlies this season. So combine 4-0 versus these teams. You win out. You're in good shape. Justin, you're down to 2 points, dude. We didn't think anyone was going to get to 0. You got a chance here.
2-0.
That boy.
2-0.
1-1.
God damn it.
It doesn't matter, though. Justin's at 2. Rob's at 3. Jason, you and I are at 4. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter at OKC Thunderheads, and Justin's over at Thunder Ties. Subscribe on YouTube. Catch all the pods live or on demand. Subscribe on iTunes if you're an audio-only person. Or if you be so kind, go ahead and rate and review because it does help us out a lot. We're also anywhere podcasts are found: Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, Overcast, all of them.
All them things.
Also, OKCThunderheads.com for all your Thunder needs. Thunder have just 2 games left. We will be back with an aftershock following the Miami game. And we may, keyword may, have a big, huge surprise for you guys on Tuesday. We're hoping for it. We're pulling for it. We will see. We'll let you guys know. And then we'll recap the season and hopefully preview the playoffs on Thursday. So we will catch you guys then. Until then, and as always, Thunder up.